principles of linguistics. Talk about linguistics first. We have to ask why should we deal with it? The answer by Chomsky came as follows. It is the most interesting aspect of the human mind to ask questions like, how are you able to speak? What is it about a child that makes it possible for the child to acquire this ability, does not make it possible for a ape or a dog or any other organism to acquire this ability? MAZIN, WAER, MIT, 1981. Well, intelligent people have tried to answer this question. For instance, PANIN was an ancient Indian grammarian, 520-460 BC, who lived in Gandhara and is most famous for his grammar of Sanskrit, particularly for his formulation of the 3,959 rules of grammar. We have also the Greek tradition with Aristotle, 384-322 BC. Aristotle built his fame on several disciplines, but mostly on logos, logic or language. For him, logic and language go hand in hand. In his famous book, The Organon, he said notions such as the 10 categories, propositions, and contradiction. The Arab tradition, it was characterized by a very serious work. It was led by many Muslim famous figures, the most important of which is Sibawayh. He studied language on the basis of Al-Quran. In Europe, you have historicism with the German GRIMM. But GRIMM described two consonant shifts involving essentially 9 of them. And he dealt with the Indo-European consonants and evidence from English, Dutch, and other Low German languages, and Norse, and the other shift about the 6th century AD. And then came SAUSSURE, Ferdinand de Saussure, 1857-1913, was a Swiss linguist considered by many to be the father of structuralism. He was born in Geneva. He laid the foundations for many developments in the linguistics of the 20th century. He perceived linguistics as a branch of general science of science. He proposed to call it semiology. After that, you have the Prague school, first called the Prague Linguistic Circle, founded as Cercle Linguistique de Prague, became known around the world as the Prague School. Its proponents developed methods of structural literary analysis during the years 1928-39. We have also to mention people like Roman Jakobson, Russian-born American linguist and Slavic language scholar, a principal founder of the European movement in structural linguistics, known as the Prague School. In France, you have André Martinet. Martinet was an eminent contemporary linguist working at Paris 3. His book is entitled L'économie des changements phonétiques, 1955. For him, language is in a state of unstable balance. Moving to America, you have William Labov. For him, the study of variables is one of the central tasks of any investigation of the dialects of American cities. The chief contributor being himself and the pioneer of social dialectology in America. In London, you have the school, obviously. To understand linguistics in England, one has to remember that that country used to rule a huge empire in which the sun never set. It stretched from Malaysia in the east to British Columbia in the west. This was a big melting pot for a multitude of languages, races, and countries. Robert Lepage is an English linguist, most famous for his work called Acts of Identity. In this article, he explains his psychosociological conception of language. He sees the individual as trying to locate himself in the social space, and language is one of the main instruments which serves him in achieving this difficult goal. Wittgenstein, one of the philosophers of Cambridge, Ludwig Wittgenstein, is originally Austrian but worked and lived in England. Crossing to America, we have to talk about Kenneth Pike. In full, Kenneth Lee Pike was an American linguist and anthropologist known for his studies of the aboriginal languages of Mexico, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, New Guinea, Java, Ghana, Nigeria, Australia, Nepal, and the Philippines. He was also the originator of tagmimics. His school is essentially missionary-oriented. Leonard Bloomfield, American linguist whose book Language, 1933, was one of the most important general treatments of linguistic science in the first half of the 20th century, and almost alone determined the subsequent course of linguistics in the United States. And finally comes Avraham Noam Chomsky, who is an American linguist and political activist who founded transformational generative grammar, an original and highly influential system of linguistic analysis. As a conclusion, we can quote Lenneberg, 1967, who has reported a wealth of biological data relevant to language. These range from studies of the peripheral anatomy of the speech organs and the correlations between symptoms of language dissolution and injuries to particular brain areas. He came to the conclusion that advances in knowledge have only shown even wider areas of ignorance, so language remains an enigma. Thank you.